Welcome to Hybis Conversations. My name is Suresh Kochatil. The COVID-19 pandemic and the subsequent lockdown has impacted sectors across the country and the world. Industries, big, small and micro, have got hit in different formats. That is what the problem is how do we come out of all this? How do we ensure that our industries pick up steam from where we left off, say 3 or 4 months ago? The micro, small and medium enterprises are the heart of Indian businesses. They constitute a huge chunk of our country's industrial workforce. And to discover this, we have with us Glory Swarupa, Director General, National Institute of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, which is an autonomous body under the Government of India, Ministry of MSME. And they do an awesome job of training people, getting people up to the mark and ensuring that the industry performs to its best potential. So let's have a few questions and subsequently the answers from Mrs. Glory Swarupa. And thank you, ma'am, for joining us at Hybis Conversations. So first and most obvious question which I've been asking industrialists, big, small, micro, is how the COVID pandemic has hit them and how hard has it hit them? According to you, what is the analysis?
Thank you very much, Hybis, for coming to NIMSME, showing your concern towards MSMEs and their distress. When this pandemic was prevalent in India and across all the sectors, we have taken up a study to know the impact of all the sectors across MSMEs. So how this was causing losses to the entrepreneurs. The most impacted sectors were micro entrepreneurs, and among the service sector, I can tell you like tourism and transportation, then education sector, then other service sectors and small retailers. And among micro entrepreneurs, the regular commodities, the small time entrepreneurs which provide small tools and equipments, the ancillary units, the job takers of the medium and small entrepreneurs, they were hit more. We have submitted a proposal study to Government of India. So based on that, we have also proposed to carry out some of the consultancy projects and research projects, action based projects, where NIMSME can take up some capacity building and master of training programs, training of training programs.
You're very focused in your approach actually, because you know what's really happening on the ground. You have your research going on. At the same time, you understand the pain that a micro or a small enterprise goes through. The question obviously is the Government of India has provided a certain amount of funding. They have provided a certain deferment of the loans that are to be paid. But at the root of the issue, what do you think? I mean, I thought from what I spoke to many of these entrepreneurs, they said they were already in trouble before the lockdown. So the lockdown is not kind of the only reason why they were in trouble. The sector itself was in trouble. Did your research reports read that as a problem? So obviously the study done by your institute would naturally indicate the distress points on various sectors across the country. So what were you reading into the entire study, that report that came out which you submitted to the Government of India?
Obviously the tiny enterprises, the nano enterprises, the micro enterprises, they were the most impacted. Many of the units, they have started their enterprising activity by fetching a financial assistance from bank or MFI, or they were taking a loan component from some other sources, pledging their properties or pledging their income in collaboration with their partners. That's how they have acquired the loan. That's how it was very important for them to pay their EMIs apart from paying their employees. And getting the raw material was a very big challenge for them. Transportation movement was restricted. That's how the most impacted were the micro, tiny and nano entrepreneurs across the sectors, whether it is plastic, paper, packaging, food, electronics, those were the sectors badly impacted.
In fact, one of the common complaints I heard from especially the micro entrepreneurs was that they were not really sure of how they were classified. Do they come under the Shops and Establishment Act, or do they come under Industrial Act? The second part was, of course, the fixed cost. For example, the electricity charges. They were paying a fixed cost even though there was a waiver given for certain states didn't give the waiver. And they were saying that, the third thing they had to do was to pay the taxes, because they were forced to pay the taxes for a certain percentage even though they are not producing anything. So how is it that, as an organization that looks at this entire sector, where do you think the pain points are?
This shopkeepers, as per Government of India 2006 Act, MSME-D Act, it is micro, small, medium enterprises. There is a clear classification, categorization, depending on the investment in plant and machinery. The categorization was done, and it is manufacturing and service sector. So when they are using the raw material with the help of machinery and equipment, they are bringing out a finished or semi-finished product. It was called manufacturing activity. And when they are offering a service like educational institutions, then hospitals or hotel industry, tourism, all this comes under all these small retailers, the traders, stationery shops, medical shops, any other commodities, the provisions, they all come under service sector. Last month, April 13th, the new MSME classification
came
yes,
in. Yes,
it
correct.
is revised, and I think they will enact, and the ordinance will be released.
July 1st is supposed to be actually
yes.
enacted.
Yeah. So that is going to be in effect from July 1st onwards.
Now, the main problem I heard, from speaking to about something like almost 25 to 30 big and small entrepreneurs, is often the fact that there is no innovation in this business. Okay, it's not your fault or their fault or anybody's fault. It's just that we have a herd mentality in India. If somebody is doing well in one sector, if it's granite, everybody jumps into granite. If somebody is doing floriculture, everybody jumps into floriculture. This is a problem that we see. So as an organization that can spawn innovation, do you plan in the foreseeable future at least to introduce courses where you encourage innovation by looking at models from other countries?
Definitely. Our institution is the mother of all institutions in the country for entrepreneurship development. So way back in 1964, the Kakinada experiment was conducted, and it was found out that when a person is motivated to achieve something, so people can become entrepreneurs, they can innovate, they can do the things. It is not that we don't have innovations. We have huge number of innovations, and when we look at the innovations documented with National Innovation Foundation, we have 5,000 more innovations, especially from the rural people, so which are yet to see the light of the day. So they are trying to promote many innovations for commercialization, for multiplication. We all know the movie Padman.
Correct.
So that was innovation of one of our entrepreneur from Tamil Nadu.
I know him. I met him actually.
So there were many innovations, low cost technologies we have. It is not that, and we have Entrepreneurship Development Center, and we have a business livelihood business incubation center. Through that, we are also offering skill development programs for the educated unemployed youth, and we are trying to promote innovations. And across the nation, we have many center for innovation and entrepreneurship development centers. So through that, innovations are taking place.
In fact, through Niti Aayog and other bodies also, and the Prime Minister himself has been mentioning that it is not necessary that one should be an employee, one should become an employer. Okay, so be it the smallest thelawala to the biggest industry, we need to create employment. There have been Mudra loans that have come in various tranches. There have been loans being given to small and medium enterprises now that it's happening with Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman's announcement. The question is this a problem of finance, or is it the problem of market and demand? What is the problem? Where does the problem lie?
Their problems are many apart from this market and finance. It is the attitude. So the attitude of the young generation should be modified. We cannot change the attitude, but it can be modified through interventions like training, capacity building. So when the attitude is modified to become instead of a job seeker, to make them a job generator or job provider or job generator, So then the finance is not a big deal, marketing is not at all a problem. If a person wants to do something on his own, definitely he will beg, borrow, steal, whatever you say. So they go, they get their finances and they do. We have many success stories in India wherein people with a minimum, we all know the success story of Lijjat Papad. So yeah, 9 women, they came together with 70 rupees. Yeah.
And created a huge
Yes.
conglomerate today.
Yeah, like that, there are many success stories. So finance is not a big problem. So it is a problem, it is the attitude for the people to do something on their own, to stand on their own, and to be the employer rather than an employee.
Today, the most common acquisition, or I would say complaint from the industry, often is that we don't get enough plumbers, we don't get enough electricians, we don't get enough carpenters or welders or whatever it is, but we get enough software engineers. Are we training the wrong kind of people? Because if you look at the ITIs versus the engineering colleges, the ITIs are still stuck somewhere in the 70s or 80s in terms of the training that they're giving. Whereas we should have been upgrading that sector first. Of course, we do have the Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Yojana where skilling is happening right now. But as an organization that brings forth entrepreneurs and tries to encourage them to become an entrepreneur, do you think your organization here in Hyderabad can actually spawn this kind of startups? Because we see startups only in the IT sector mostly, but we don't see startups in the industrial sector as such. So what do you think is the issue there?
Our institution has been doing skill development programs since 2009-10, even before the formation of Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. So we have been doing the skill development programs in technical skills, so repair and maintenance of all household electronics and this plumbing skills. Many other skills we were doing. Likewise, various other ministries were also into this skill development. So as you rightly told, we can see many startups in IT sector because it is easy for them to make a beginning with a computer, with a mobile phone, with some software, so they can get connected.
And an idea.
Of course, you are right. So an idea, not only idea, so identifying the need or the requirement of the society. So that's how, way back maybe a decade ago, they have come out with Make My Trip, all these things were started. But whereas in manufacturing sector, so you need to have a space to work, there is a registration process, then you need a raw material, you need a machine, then there are licenses to acquire, then there are approvals from Pollution Control Board or local authorities or the municipal corporation, then we need marketing, then packaging, then transportation. So there are a set of guidelines to be followed and there are procedural formalities to be done, and as a beginner, first generation entrepreneur need to have network with at least 15 different departments if he has to manufacture a small product, as a safety pin or a small text paper, anything he has to manufacture. So that is a process.
So these are doing business is still tough.
Not tough these days. It is, everything is online, they can do it. Lot of perseverance is required, endurance is required. So that's how, see, we have 6.5 crores enterprises in India. So all have gone through this process and they have established and they have provided employment and they are sustaining.
Prime Minister is talking of Atmanirbhar Bharat, trying to get those companies that are exiting China post the pandemic, following the US getting strict with them, the Japanese are quitting, the Koreans are quitting. But do you think to come to a country like India, we have various issues like land acquisition, we have labor laws and all these issues, but of course the main thing that we have is of course a huge talent pool, okay, the talent pool that goes across the country. So do you think we can actually tap into this opportunity being provided by companies exiting from China, especially in the manufacturing sector, to come to India, because these are the same small enterprises which you're talking of, which make everything from a ball pen to a missile, everything can be done by them. So do you think that that kind of study has been done by NIMSME here to ensure that you give these industries a ready-made plan to start off?
Yeah, I am very hopeful. Our Atmanirbhar Bharat, the call given by Honorable Prime Minister will be a reality. When China can do, we can always do, because we are the second populous country in the world and we are the youngest nation in the world today. almost 65% of the young population. We have around 950 universities. Yeah, so a lot of youngsters, professionals, technical students are coming out of the universities, but we are undergoing a jobless growth today. But there are a lot of opportunities in the industry. So all students can be given, first awareness has to be created, then there are a lot of opportunities in every sector. When the opportunities are told, so we can modify their attitude and we can give them the business plan, the opportunities, the bunch of opportunities in every sector. So what China was doing, like, so starting from, as you are telling, the ball pen. So even for the toddlers, the toys, from the toys to the the components of all defense equipments they were manufacturing. So when China can do, we can always do, because even we have the technology, we have the proven technology, starting from alphabet A, automotive sector, then atomic energy, to Z. So when you go with alphabet, we have all the technologies, and we have the premier institutions for every sector, every product. So I am very hopeful that will happen one day, because our young generation is no less than any youngsters in the country, in the world. So that's how we are very hopeful that it will happen, it will be a reality one day.
Because the problem is actually more youngsters today want white collar jobs. They don't want to get into manufacturing. Today, when you saw the migrants leaving for their home states, we just thought migrants are going back, but today the industry, be it real estate, be it manufacturing, be it even the small medium enterprises, they have suddenly realized that there's a dearth of employment. And as one industrialist told me, we don't have a problem of unemployment, we have a problem of employment, because we can't get the right people to work in the industry. So that, I think, is a big skill gap that is developing there. But of course, since you deal with the industry as such, do you forecast and see that in the next 10 years or 5 years, you must be having a roadmap as to how this entire thing will move, because we will only keep growing, the number of entrepreneurs will keep growing. There are certain states which have more entrepreneurs, certain states are not that entrepreneurial. But at the end of the day, everybody has realized that even the smallest guy who sells things on his push cart is also a vendor, and who also gets financial help from the government now. So do you think in your forecast for the next 5 years, have you factored this part that enterprises, small and medium enterprises, are going to be the next big growth engine for India?
Obviously, it has been the economic engine, MSMEs, and it will be. That's how when our Honorable Prime Minister, he has announced the Atmanirbhar Bharat, the first financial package, the stimulus was given to the MSMEs. Then later for all the sectors, then agriculture, rural development, then fisheries, for all the sectors it was given. I am very hopeful, our generation, young generation will take it up. As in training institution, we have been focusing on building the capacity of the executives, officials of various departments, and primarily the industries and commerce departments we were focusing. But of late, we have also entered into the arena of education sector, like concentrating on the science and technology institutions faculty, and likewise management and other sciences like commerce, other natural sciences, life sciences, those stream faculty also we started building the capacity, so that this faculty can encourage and motivate the students to become a job generator.
Now, towards as we end this conversation, there is always this saying that has been heard for the last 2 months. We had BC and AD, now of course we're going to have before Corona and after Corona. People say this new normal is social distancing, hygiene, all these factors have been built in. The entire business model itself is changing. Okay. Are you also going to make this a part of your training, where this new normal is going to become something different? Because it's not going to be the same. Let's accept that fact. Things are not going to go back to the same thing again. So be it transportation, be it airlines, or be it the hotel industry, restaurant, all these kind of points of contact where people gather, they're going to see a huge change in the way they operate. So in your training programs that are going to come up, I'm sure, you would have factored this in, that this aspect is going to be one of the most important things.
What you told is exactly true. We are also now transforming ourselves, and we are also migrating into online mode. Yeah, so because the dissemination should go on, the knowledge should be shared, the information should be reach the last person, our stakeholder, starting from international executive to the 10 plus 2 educated unemployed youth. So we have been equipping ourselves to deliver the good messages, the policies, the advisory from Government of India, and the content what we have developed over the years in various sectors with intellectual properties and with entrepreneurship development, with green technologies and with enterprise management and with e-commerce and various other areas, the techno-managerial services. So we are also adopting into online mode. And next month, actually, the EITech, now we say electronic, international technical cooperation programs also, economic cooperation programs are going to happen. And we have already completed 15 webinars, online webinars.
Okay.
Yeah, and
That's
wherein,
the most popular thing to
5,000,
today.
yeah, 5,000 entrepreneurs and students have participated. A couple of them were paid programs. On demand basis, we have conducted on entrepreneurship development, and we have also many educational institutions, they made a request to us, they have collaborated with us from Tamil Nadu and from Hyderabad. So we have helped them in organizing these webinars, and we are planning in-house all the equipment. We are making a studio now, so it will be a full-fledged activity online, yeah, and we have developed our content. It is already placed in our website and all, and we have signed an MOU with India SME Forum, wherein we are also reaching huge number of entrepreneurs and delivering the content in women empowerment and so many areas, and in rural development. So we are concentrating on.
I think you have your hands full for the next few months, at least not for the few months, at least for the year, coming year. Thank you, Mrs. Glory Swarupa, for speaking to us at HiBiz News. It's been a pleasure trying to understand how an institution like yours, which is the National Institute for Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, trying to inculcate programs, trying to change the situation that is coming up, because we never thought, nobody predicted this pandemic. But I think we are all learning to live with it. We are learning to change our lifestyle according to that. Thank you very much for speaking to us at HiBiz News.
Thank you very much.
That was Ms. Glory Swarupa, Director General of National Institute for Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, an institution that regularly updates the entire industrial sector in its domain to learn about the latest advances and happenings. Hopefully, in the days to come, in the weeks to come, in the months to come, and in the years to come, we will see a different kind of institution evolving from what was before, because the world has changed. It's no longer the new normal. It is now the new normal. Thank you for watching.